right. So what were you saying there, Adam?
I don't even remember. Storms. And
No, you were giving us the release date.
Yeah,
date?
and that was the confirmed date. I'm glad you guys got the special surprise. I'm Geekdomo. I don't know how you got that from us, but you heard it here for her first, folks. So,
right.
Sweet.
I don't know. I wasn't. You guys. I wasn't expecting that for them to release it like here.
Yeah.
Because it's like in the realm of things. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was able to be the one to say it too. That was a pretty big honor.
Yep.
So
thanks a lot for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, no problem, guys. So I'll catch you guys later, and it was a great podcast.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, man.
Look at the people in the audience. They're losing their shit, literally. Like, what? Skylar, could you do the same thing that Ko just did? Because I'm getting a spinning circle for you. Yeah, sorry. This is great. The internets. I love you, internets.
This is the worst. First world problems.
First world problems, exactly.
Now.
You can't have a video podcast if you can't get the video to work.
Hey, is my video back yet?
No, not yet. Give it a second. Codes took a second to pop back up. So while we're getting this going again, if you guys want to go ahead and chat, because it is a podcast, so it does go. The audio is being recorded.
Okay.
Right.
So you can continue on. I'll just get the video going again.
There was questions in chat. If you want to ask them, Ko.
Can I ask a question about the law? Sorry, I just want to ask. You were mentioning
when the stream went down earlier, I saw people talking about questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask about the law. How basically you guys stated that you want to create instead of having it 15 years in the future, you want to create that 15 years. A big thing that's coming up now is law and its reaction or interaction with the persistence of the game itself. Could you see your Sony basically, we'll say a year after the game's been released and we've got established factions inside the game and two of the largest factions of a particular server happen to have a massive clash and it was just an all-out shitfest, basically. Hundreds of people died. Could you see that sort of thing making it into the lore? And so players that come in 18 months after it, there's still players talking about, the battle of whatever it is, So,
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea. I'm not really in charge of the lore of what happens to it, but that's definitely something that would be very plausible to do. So it's like you're talking about like marking key events that happen in H1Z1 that the community recognizes.
That have been sort of created and centered around the actual player interactions.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool, honestly. That type of thing has to be really community driven, to be honest, because the community has to say, hey, did you guys see this event that happened? And then our community team turns that into a thing.
Sure.
So I think that's a great idea, honestly.
That brings up two kind of interesting questions. Now, for Stockus, that's a really cool idea that Stockus had, but the first thing I immediately thought of, okay, well, the person who would write this lore would need to either be present, which is not really feasible, or see a recording of some kind. Is there any plan for any type of recording or ability to show events later? Now, that's kind of an advanced question. But second of all, another thing that you guys kind of touched on, and this is actually what I was talking about in chat earlier, one of the big things that pushed like the big community kind of things away from Rust was our inability to identify each other in the game quickly and effectively, while people who knew where we were or where our groups were able to just destroy us before we even had a chance to recognize our targets. Are you guys going to have anything in game to make it so friendly players, not necessarily everybody, but friendly players are going to be able to identify themselves quickly and easily outside of just normal equipped equipment?
Well, are you talking about two people that know each other or two just completely random people?
Two people that, like, okay, if I'm building a building with 20 other people and they're all out running around the map, gathering resources, bringing them back, how am I going to know the guy running straight at me is friendly, or how am I going to know that he's just going to immediately kill my permadeath character?
So we were talking about groups. Being able to make it so, what does a group mean? Does that mean you just see their name title above their head? So if a dude's running at you from even a kilometer away, you can see his nameplate. But that's something that hasn't been finalized. But I think you have a valid point for sure. I know that that's something that I would hate to happen. You know, you're building this huge house and you're like, oh, that must be Fred, and it's not Fred, and he comes and kills you.
Exactly.
But I think that can be handled pretty well with groups. I don't want to say squads, right? But it's like a group of people. Like, hey, let's join this group and build this foundation together. That type of a thing. And now that we are in a group, now we can all see each other as friendly. All that stuff is handled with UI. So, but that's a valid point, and it's something that that we've definitely discussed about groups. There's a whole thing there too, because some people don't want groups. Some people want it to just be all voice discussion, like, hey, you should know who you guys are because he said your name, or he's wearing the red bandana with the, jeans, or, but that's where the server rule sets come in. So that's one thing about this game is it's really has a lot of different types of players that play these games. We're not going to have a silver bullet server that touches everyone's gameplay style. So being able to have those different server rule sets that Smed was talking about is a really good thing for us.
So there will be like PvE servers, or you're not going to go that far?
Well, who knows? There could be. Like, what if there's a bunch of people that vote for a PvE server, and it makes sense for us financially to do it, then Smed basically is saying, let's throw that server. It's just different rule sets.
But it just changes the whole dynamic of the game, in my opinion.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Well, I theory crafted about that, last week or the week before, about having players vote on servers, and if enough players voted, that they would make it. So, ha!
Skyla wins. 1 point for Skyla.
But I mean, I think it's good to have that though, because honestly, there are so many. I talked to a ton of people in the community, and almost every single person likes to play the game differently. It's like they have their core group of friends, and these guys only like to play first person, and then these guys like to play third person, but everything is super hardcore, no HUD. It's just there's so many. You could make a list of 100 different ways to play a survival game like this. So we're going to have our main server with our rule sets, and then anything else that players really, really want, we could update our main server, or we could be like, should this be a different server rule set?
I have a question about VoIP. Okay, that I think we talked about it the other week, and maybe it was not with Jimmy, but I can't quite remember. But will it be a proximal voice chat, meaning that if somebody is, if I'm talking to you, Adam, and we're 10 feet apart, you can hear me fairly well on the voice. But if somebody's 500 yards away, they probably can't hear me at all. And then as they get closer, they can sort of hear people talking in the distance. Like they're doing that when EverQuest Next. That's why I was wondering if it's a possibility for this game as well.
Yeah, it's the same engine, so it's the same proximity voice chat code that's in there. So however voice over IP works currently in PlanSide 2 is probably how it works right now in our game, unless the programmers have went in and adjusted it themselves.
Can I just quickly ask? I saw a question float through in chat before, and while Adam's talking about servers, almost in every single, not every, but almost every game launch, usually the Asia Pacific region is left out for server hosting. Do you guys have plans to have maybe just one bank in the US and that does everyone, or are you going to have Europe? Are you going to have the Asia Pacific? Are you going to have US servers?
That's definitely a question for Smed, to be honest. Okay. I have no idea how we handle our servers, where they are, how many we have, the politics behind it, who publishes it. I know it's a big deal in every single different region. But I know that we have servers for our other games in a lot of different countries. I don't know what that means to spin up more, to create, but it all depends on who's publishing the games out there too.
Sure. So that's cool. I just wondered if you knew if there was any plans specifically, but if not, yeah, that's all right.
USA confirmed.
While we're kind of on like the UI and friendly discussion real quick, a really good question was asked earlier. Now, if 15 years after that, what I'm about to say would really not be an option, but if it really is going to be just a few weeks after, then this would assume that there is probably a lot of existing infrastructure that still might work. like cell phones, electricity, potentially sinks and stuff like that. Is this the kind of stuff that's going to be in the game? Could people get like cell phones and walkie-talkie, things that are powered and usable? Can they build that kind of stuff? Like with what we thought before, because I thought with Stockus 2 that it was much, much later. I thought it was going to be kind of a more tribal feel to it, and everything you'd make would be rudimentary. And
well, look at the paint and stuff on the buildings. It's all kind of coming up.
Yeah, but people are still going to have their cell phones in their pockets. This much after a kind of thing. Like, how much is that going to factor into? Well, and also this kind of goes into the next question. Are we going to actually have a UI with nameplates and stuff like that, or is it going to be more of you look in your gun and see the bullets, or you look on the side of it? Like, are we going to have indicators and standard UI stuff, or is it going to be kind of as real as it gets kind of thing?
Well, to answer your first question, we definitely are looking into the possibility of having electricity in like a dam. Like, we have a dam, right? And we have major power lines from the dam to the town. Now, we want to talk about, let's make it so somebody can do something at the dam that makes it so electricity turns on at the town. Or the opposite. Town already has electricity. Somebody does something at the dam to make the electricity turn off. Those are things that we just started talking about recently. So I wouldn't expect anything for early access of that level. But the second part of your question was, sorry.
Just how far are you going to take the UI into the kind of
the UI
environment from the real world environment?
Well, it's not going to be like chambering rounds into your gun type of level, but it's going to be I have pants. My pants hold this many slots. These pants hold this many slots. This shirt holds this much. This backpack holds this much. It's going to be kind of pretty realistic based on how much clothing you have on your person, basically, as far as what you found in the world or crafted. So it's going to be pretty realistic, but not so realistic like you were talking about, where it's there's no UI and you have to actually remember that there's 6 bullets in your gun.
But for instance, we'll have a reticule.
You mean like when you're?
I mean, like if I'm not looking down the sights, I'll have crosshairs in the middle of my screen.
No, you'll have the sights. Like
iron sights.
Are you talking about? Okay, so now you're talking about the combat.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the UI in general. Like, how much of it is going to be based in the world, and how much of it is going to be like graphics kind of painted on to just give the player feedback on or information.
Okay, are you talking about the HUD?
Yeah,
yes.
Basically.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're working on the HUD right now, which is we have the health indicators, the hydration, stamina, and energy as hidden, and then as you get lower or as they affect you, like you get hit by a zombie or something, it pulses on your screen and you see how much it's being affected by you, and then it goes away. You're not going to have like the FPS style crosshair when you go to iron sight type of thing. You're going to have to actually look down the sight type of deal. We're looking at a very clean HUD in general. Sorry, when you said UI, I immediately thought, okay, open up a menu. What are all the menus?
I should have said HUD. Absolutely.
Okay, sorry. No, I was just trying to
interface the inventory and stuff like that. Just what the player sees most of the time if they're not.
Okay, yeah. So we're looking pretty clean right now. Not a lot of it, but you will see ammo left in your gun. But there are definitely people that want absolutely no HUD at all. So
I kind of like the minimalism of DayZ. Pretty much in a lot of the servers, basically all you see is a dot in the center of the screen, so you can tell where the center is. Are you thinking of doing something like that, just a dot?
I'm not sure. I know Jimmy. That's a big Jimmy thing. He's handling all of the gameplay discussion as far as combat's concerned.
I actually had a question. This is maybe more on a kind of a selfish level. Okay, so a lot of us streamers deal with stream sniping pretty badly, and that means that somebody's watching our stream, knowing where we are, can find us, locate us, stuff like that. In your estimation, as the current build is, how much of a problem will that be for us? Because in DayZ, it's a huge problem for some of the big DayZ streamers for people to come in. Do you have any idea? I'm just curious.
I think eventually it's going to be something that we'll have to look at, because as players figure out the map and they look at where you are on the map, they're going to figure out where you are. It's a tough problem to deal with. It's if you don't want to stream on a delay and you want to stream live. I don't really have a good answer for that at the moment.
Yeah.
That might be something you have to do, Elo, is you might have to put like a 5-minute delay or something on your stream.
It's definitely tough. We were talking about like trying to make it so it's more interactive with streamers. So like I really respect streamers and people who stream, and I like people who are watching their streams, and I want more interaction between the gamer and the streamer, or the streamer and the chat, the watcher, the spectator, I should say. And we were talking about like airdrops. Now, how cool would it be if like Ko was streaming and somebody could donate to him, which would send an airdrop into the world, and then now he's awesome. Like, I have to go find the airdrop because this person just donated to me for the airdrop.
Or I don't get the donation.
Yeah. That is killer. Confirmed. You guys heard it here first.
Yeah. So that type of Twitch player, streamer, watcher, spectator interaction, I think is awesome, and I think it's not being tapped or utilized in games yet to the full extent because this whole Twitch thing has really just started to blow up. So I think it's
so
really cool.
Weird and selfish to ask somebody to like manipulate a game solely for one small, very select group of people who actually stream it.
But that's a large platform, dude. That's not. I mean, that's a very. If there was a game that took those kinds of steps, Adam, I mean, or Elo, in this case, I mean, that would be a game that I would actually consider to stream more. You know what I mean? Like that's a pretty serious thing to bring up.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of value there. If you have people that are streaming to tens of thousands of people, or even people that are streaming to thousands of people, and they're playing your game because there's awesome interaction between their spectators and your stream, that's pretty cool. That's what I think would be awesome.
Well, look at Daylight, which interacts really well with...
Yeah, that's...
Turns your chat
cool.
into spam fests, man.
Yeah, true. That's true.
It becomes Twitch plays Pokemon, right?
Yeah, almost.
Exactly. So I guess the answer here is just give us super special juggernaut abilities and allow us to run around and do whatever we want. Okay, well, cool. I'm glad I like that answer.
Yeah,
thank you.
Instead of like nerfing it to the point of you can't get stream sniped, it's about how can we add cool things to the game that make it so instead of people wanting to stream snipe you, they're giving you challenges.
But okay, so say you do that airdrop. Let's play that out. So somebody donates and gets the airdrop to come in. Now they've got a perfect way to pick you off because now they know right where you're going to be.
That's also true.
And at that point, is it worth the donation?
Yeah. Right.
That's exactly. At that point, it's fun for the streamer because they're like, "Oh, I got a donation. That's cool. I'm here to entertain my spectators, and I'm doing that by doing things that they directly want me to do in the game." So it's not like, "Hey guys, let's build a house. It's house building time," and then a dude stream snipes me. It's like, "Hey, the spectators wanted me to do this. I'm doing this. I died. Okay, but still, I'm doing exactly what they wanted me to do."
Wait, so when we're talking about donations, would it be a situation where, let's say somebody donates me $1 in real life, it would trigger something in the game to drop a certain crate?
Like an axe?
Or like an axe or something in the game?
Yeah, well, it would have to be... we wouldn't have...
Because that would be crazy. Like if Ko and I like...
That's the next level. I'm not talking about direct Twitch integration. I'm talking about like... Ko can pay X amount of dollars to have an airdrop happen, and the guy says, "I donate you to do an airdrop right now," right?
Okay.
Or like,
oh, that's even better.
I'm on your server, Joe, and I just did an airdrop. If you get it, I will donate you this amount of money.
That's cool too.
That's
all really
challenges for the streamers. That'd be really fun.
I think that's really cool. And
kill X zombies in X amount of time, kill X players in X amount of time, make them completely shake up what they're doing for like an actual reward.
Yep.
So like I'm sitting there building a base, and all of a sudden it drops down on my screen. Neris has challenged you $5 to kill 5 players within 5 minutes, or something like that.
Oh my god!
I would not get it unless I actually did the challenge.
Right. It's like a lot of fun. And most of the other people in the audience right now are going, "This is stupid. I hate it." But we are all appreciating it because we're going, "Oh my god, that would be so amazing."
Yeah,
that'd be kind of next level stuff, honestly.
Well, actually, I like the the current platform where I just do what I want and I still get the $5.
And the thing is,
platform, to be fair.
it's like we're putting in the airdrops as a feature in the game anyways, right? It's not like we're putting this in for streamers, but it's a feature that we put in with the ability for a streamer to really use it to make their stream more entertaining.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, we'll go back to our questions real quick. I got a couple more here. Okay, this is from Venturion. What's your favorite thing you built in H1Z1 and why, Adam? Because you're the only ones who've done it, so.
Well, today I crafted a wooden bow and an arrow, but I didn't actually get to shoot it at a deer, which I was really upset. I really wanted to do that. So I think that was the coolest thing I've done so far. The foundation building and stuff like that hasn't really been fully fleshed out to be able to build really cool bases. Obviously, otherwise you guys would probably be playing the game already. But we definitely are trying to get that in for sure. But so far, just crafting the wooden bow to be able to catch deer is my win right now. Otherwise, it's just finding and exploring and running people over with jeeps.
Can I ask about the bow? Because I know Jimmy said that when we spoke to him about it, he really wanted it. It was being discussed. So you guys have come up with a bow and arrow now. Would there be an ability to set the end of the arrow on fire? Ooh. So that, because I had an idea before the stream. I was thinking, what if you're in your little shack, you've made your thing, you're in a little clearing and you've got a bit of forest around you, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the night, a bunch of raiders decide to take you on. But instead of just shooting at you, all you see is all these little dots of fire lighting up in the forest, and about 20 or 30 flaming arrows all of a sudden fly in at your wooden building and set the place on fire.
I wouldn't say that's not something that could be done. I could foresee that being something that could be crafted, but currently you can't do that right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, down the path.
I think that would be really cool, but you would have to be
awesome.
You would have to find something to make it so you could make your flame-tipped arrows, obviously.
Yeah.
But I saw Venturians in chat. He meant as a level designer, what's the best thing I've built so far, which is a completely different question. Recently, I've been building different warehouse groups, and when I say group, I mean that it's a group of objects that I can save and then be like, I would like to place this, and then it just places the entire thing in the world, so I don't have to hand build every single thing in the world. I can make a group and then place a bunch of groups and then alter them as I place them. But I was making warehouse groups, and I made a really cool mechanics garage where the cars are up on the lifts, and it looks like a mom and pop shop Jiffy Lube style thing. And then recently today I just finished a pit stop. So imagine driving down a highway and seeing a pit stop where you could get some gas and you could eat and you could buy supplies, something that you would see in a small town. I'm having fun with it. It's cool.
Is everything? I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say it's cool building on this game because I was building on PlantSide 2 was just crazy epic, massive scale of these buildings and these structures, and it's sci-fi and it's military sci-fi with these PvP bases and having to worry about line of sight and just cover and all that stuff, which is still something that you can worry about in H1Z1, but in H1Z1 it's a lot more different. It's more real world. It's more what would this look like in real life, and it's fun. It's a fun change for sure.
The buildings that you're talking about putting down, are they flammable as well?
The base building?
Mm-hmm. I know you can set other players' buildings on fire, but what about...
Yeah, the stuff that I'm placing down?
Mm-hmm. Like the gas station. Can I burn it up?
Oh, okay. I don't think you could take down the entire station, but I don't see why we couldn't make it so you could blow up the gas station, the gas pump piece or something like that. Or the cars that are placed in those stations. But I don't know how we're handling the big if we place a warehouse and it's supposed to be a warehouse that's there, I don't think we're going to be able to make it so you can just burn down the warehouse. But
so this kind of is a little bit of of a segue though, because fire and mechanics stuff like this. Have you guys already talked about traps, or like traps for other players? Like dig a hole, do this or like put down a net or something like that. Is that kind of is there anything with that? Or because when I start thinking about fire, I start thinking about how you can use fire. Perhaps you can use fire as a mechanism to trap people. Like if you were just saying like a warehouse, you could light it on fire if people are inside, but you're saying you're going against that. So any other things to deal with traps? I think it'd be pretty cool if you had if you built a hole or dug a hole and somebody fell in it, and you could literally starve them out, or you could there's just so many different things that could come from that.
Yeah, so. I think you're gonna have to be a little more creative than digging the hole, because we're not a voxel based game like Landmark, so you can't dig a hole in the terrain to set a trap like that. But that doesn't mean you can't create a prison room where hey, come check out this gun that's in here, and then when they walk in, you lock it and lock them in, or something like that. Or awesome. We have traps in the game right now. Or you could just be clever, right? You could put a campfire in a warehouse at night, and people see the fire through the walls, through the doorway, not through the walls, but you understand what I'm saying. And then it's oh, what's in here? And they think somebody's in there, and you just wait for them to go in, and then you go in and
rat-a-tat-tat.
Yep. Or just be their friends and make s'mores. That's always an option.
I've trapped you in my friendship lair. Now you just close the door. They walk in and you're just standing behind the door and you just close it when you have this weird smile on your face.
Yeah. You go into voice chat. You must be my friend.
Come play with us.
The inevitable question: can we make those little things that you can slide open to look inside the room, so you can kind of do that whole talk right through it?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a cool door. Just so you could just open the.
You just see Ella's eyes staring at you.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yes.
It eats the mushroom or it gets the hose.
But think about a room. How about this? How about the idea to taking that further, a little bit further? You said a trap room or something like that. What if you created a room and actually trapped a zombie? And then lured another player into the warehouse and then trapped them in that, and had a way of somehow opening the door on them, or trapping a zombie. I think would be a really kind of a cool, if you could even hoard zombies and collect them in one place.
That's
and
a
then
question.
Inevitably breed them.
Yes, that's a question I have for you there, Adam. Can zombies go through walls like they can in DayZ?
No.
Good. Thank God. Thank baby Jesus.
Just two quick questions. Oh, go ahead, Skylar. Go ahead. Oh, okay, just two quick ones. And this one, the first one, immediately when Stockus said this, I immediately thought about this. This bothered the hell out of so many people in Rust, because it was an absolute mess. Player crafted lighting, is that in the works? Can players craft lights that they can put on static objects to keep areas lit at night?
Not currently. The thing that you can only use is campfires, right, to create any kind of light source.
Well, I'm assuming players can hold a light source of some kind, right? Like a torch.
Well, they have their torch, yeah. I'm not sure. So, are you asking you can make a torch and then you could stick it on your
sconce?
Wall?
Exactly. You put a sconce on the wall and then pop a torch in it or something.
So that sounds something that's very easy to do if it uses the snapping system. If you guys watched on stream how the building snapped to the windows and to the door.
Yeah.
We could just make it to where the torch snaps to the wall or to the side of the door or something. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to do. So if that's something you guys really want.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it'd be very hard to do.
Yeah, we want it, so can you just take care of that now? Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Just the five of us here. Yeah. We're so demanding. We want airdrops. We want sconces, hats.
This is very streamer-centric right now.
Yeah, just a question from Demps real quick. Ask this real quick at Elo. So say you shoot somebody. You're shooting them. They get away. Will they bleed out? Can you track their blood? Is there a way to track them?
I would currently that is something that we haven't really implemented for tracking of blood to see somebody, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that's pretty awesome, to be honest. I'll have to take that back to the guys at work.
Get a little notebook over there.
start a discussion about it. But I think that's cool. Like, imagine if somebody gets shot with an arrow, right? But then you don't know where they went, and it's raining, and like you can see the reflection of the rain on the blood, and you kind of like follow them through, like Dexter style, right? He follows the blood. But that's a good idea. I really like that.
Okay, go ahead, Elo. I'm sorry I interrupted you there.
Oh, this is kind of to do with what viewers said, using trap zombies as a way to defend a building or an area. So, like, maybe as a last-ditch effort, if you're being invaded, you run over and unleash the zombie horde that you've collected in a last-ditch effort to, like, kind of throw some chaos into it. I thought, anyways, that was just...
Do you know what I want? I want time locks, not just like a lock. I want a lock that, like, says, okay, in 10 hours, unlock this. And so, like, you trap a bunch of zombies, and then you set it as, like, a trap. So then, like, 10 hours from now, you release all the zombies out of your trap type of thing.
See, Adam, now we're getting on the same page. Now I feel like we're starting to, that'd be awesome.
Will the zombies want to leave the room? Or will they just kind of stand there?
So the way it works is they are attracted to heat, basically, is the heat, right? Is the term that we're going with. And everything in the world makes heat. The players do. When two players get together, they create more heat than if one player is standing next to each other, or if one player is walking by himself. I'm sorry. If you are running right across the field and a wolf starts to attack a deer, they are creating more heat than you are, which means the zombie's going to go follow that because, like, oh, what's going on over here? So as you create more heat, you attract more zombie attention from further away. So that's the way it really kind of works. And that's the way it should work. You know, if it's like Walking Dead. If you're making a bunch of noise, or if you have a big community of people, you're going to make more noise, and the zombies are going to be more attracted to that.
So basically, if I get into the game, I'm immediately going to be swarmed by zombies.
Because you're so hot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you.
See? Or
confirmed.
There you go.
Yep.
It's that connection.
Does that mean now that you'd be able to craft some clothing that could maybe possibly conceal your heat or keep you insulated so that you're maybe not as visible to zombies in that way?
Anti-zombie equipment.
Yeah,
That's
for sure. Or like, what if it was like anti-zombie spray? Buy now and you get one free. Anti-zombie spray.
Icy hot all over your body.
I mean, sure, why not? Right? That would be something cool. It's definitely the possibilities are endless, right? Like, we can take this as far as we want to. We're really just trying to make sure that when early access comes out, it's a game that you guys enjoy and can see what we're trying to do with it. So you want to just stick around and see all the updates that we bring. That's basically our main goal. And I mean, it's been proven on all of our MMOs that we update our games regularly and quickly, and we listen to the community. So I'm really excited. I mean, I've only been on the team for 3 weeks. This is at the end of this week, I'll be on the team a month, and I've seen so much progress on this game. It's unreal.
Okay. Are there going to be states like hypothermia and heat exhaustion?
I know Smed talked about weather affecting your heat, right? Getting cold, being hot. I know that all of that stuff is considered gameplay, which means it's not being sold. It's not if you're buying a cosmetic that's like the leather jacket Harley Davidson, that doesn't mean that you're getting better, warmer, right?
I see.
Anything that affects gameplay is something that has to be found in game or crafted.
Okay, but yes, but there are states though, so you can get sick from drinking something, or being out in the cold for too long, catching hypothermia, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like what Smed said back to rain, right? Rain isn't just a cool thing that happens. Rain is something that affects the world.
The world, okay. All right, let's see. Going down the list here, will there be shared or door access?
So we haven't nailed down what that means yet. Okay. So we're still talking about, when you die, does your house automatically unlocks, all your locks unlock, and you can get raided. When you die, Or if you're making a foundation and somebody else puts a foundation next to you, can you guys share stuff? Like all of those logistics, I guess I should call them, are being worked out still.
Go ahead, Co.
Catch some in here. Now that what you just said brings up a very interesting question. In your eyes, is this game permadeath or is it full loot death? And if it's not the same, what is going to differentiate that?
I think that we're very much permadeath from the very beginning.
So when somebody dies, you want their mark on the world to basically be like that's it.
Yep, like you're done, man. Like unless you died away from your house and you're able to know where your house is and to run back to it to kind of claim it as your own again.
That's actually my point. So in other words, the concept here is
yes. No,
life,
your stuff just doesn't
keys
poof.
To your place. Are you going to be the same person in another pair of shoes, or are you going to be a different person? Like for instance, in a permadeath situation, one would think that if you died, when you came back to life, you would not be the same person, and therefore you could not use your doors that you placed in the other life.
It's like DayZ versus Rust.
Yeah,
except Rust is full loot. Rust is not permadeath.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No, we definitely we're definitely permadeath, and your stuff just doesn't go poof in the world. It'll still be there. So you, as a different person, even though so it's kind of weird. Let's talk about this for a second. You're a character on a server, right? And you have a character name. So that character name will still be the same. Like you'll still be Co if you want to make your name Co. And when you die and come back to life, you're still Co. But that person who died is not you anymore. You are now fresh meat, fresh body. You can go back to the place where you went to and claim your stuff again. It didn't just poof into the world. But if you died, it's likely somebody raided your house.
So just to take that a bit further, though, since there's no stats and the only stuff in the game is equipment, what does differentiate from the brand new character I just started and the character that I just was besides equipment?
Well, that's the thing is the equipment is your level, so you would be starting with no equipment.
Will I look different? Can we customize our looks? Can I make a new beard? Can I put a beard on me, for instance?
Well, the character customization stuff, I think is pretty minor right now because we want everything to be like found. Like facial customization, I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. So I can't really answer that question. But it's definitely your equipment is your level, and the big wrench in the whole thing is cosmetic purchasables, right? So like if some guy wants to spend $1,000 on cosmetics and he dies, it's not very fair that he loses $1,000. Mm-hmm. So that's why we came up with the durability system of the person, because it's also not fair to the person who killed that guy to not be able to loot the stuff that he's wearing.
Right.
So that's why we came up with the durability system of I get to loot your stuff, but it's your stuff at a less durability. It's not pristine, but I can still have the cool feeling of I have this stuff at least for a couple more deaths or one more death because the other guy's going to loot it. And that new guy gets to now at least have his consumables still, which are not consumables, wearables, which that he paid for with real money.
Real quick though, can going along with Code's line of questioning there, so you come back as same soul, new body. You come back and now you want to go to the house that you built, like in Rust. Like in Rust, you run up and you can open the door up again, even though you're a new guy. Mm-hmm. Does that happen in this game? Can you go back and open up the house, or is that house free for all now? And it's
the way we've been talking about it right now is it's free for all. It's like you lost your house, man. So
yeah, I know, Co. I'm thinking the same thing.
So like
scary prospect.
it's So it's definitely
That's hardcore.
We don't want it. It's definitely a hardcore game, and we don't want it to come. We don't want our game to be in a situation where somebody feels like they've beaten the game, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because when somebody beats the game, it's no longer fun for them anymore. And we don't want that. We want people to be able to make sure that they get a fresh experience every single time they're playing, and they want to outdo themselves every time they start a new session. Or they could, it feels really cool to have a guy live for a very long time. So that's basically, I think, the mantra we're trying to preach here. But a lot of that stuff involving locks and doors, and it hasn't been all fleshed out yet.
Yeah, hopefully that will definitely be part of those server customization rules. Because like people in the chat are immediately pointing out from a streamer's perspective and the ability to have someone know where I am and exactly what I'm doing at all times. The prospect that everything I've worked for could be just like gone is
just to troll you.
Pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, I understand. It's tough for streamers on hardcore survival games. So hopefully,
it's a cool idea, though. It's a cool idea.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully,
from a player perspective, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, you can have your server rule set where at least you get to keep your stuff, at least the house you build. But for now, we're definitely in a mindset of hardcore survival.
Yeah, it's cool. No, it's fine. Just we have to figure out how to work around it. So. Let's see. We've got a couple more questions, everybody, and we'll be wrapping it up here real soon.
So what you do is you build your house off stream, and then on stream you always have the location of where you go. So then you never show your real house on stream.
That's a good point. You have like a little shack in the woods somewhere. This is where I live, everybody.
Unabomber shack.
And then like 5 miles away, you have this beautiful mansion with like machine gun turrets. All right, so let's see. What kind of measures will you take for people wanting to avoid death in the game? For example, DayZ, you'll lose all your stuff, and you'll have to run back to your body, start over from scratch. Would there be a similar system in H1Z1? This is kind of similar to what we were just asking, but basically, I think I'm trying to find out about what with his question is what will you do to help avoid death in the game? Is there like, I know you talked before about the stealth system with the bushes and stuff.
Yeah. So. Okay. We're talking. There's multiple ways to do it. There's always stealth, right? But I think the big X factor are zombies. When you have a real threat that's an equal threat among your fellow human, and it's a zombie, then it requires you to work together, even in a situation where you don't want to work together. You know, we've all watched movies where two people hate each other and then they have to work together for a common goal. And I think that's what the zombies are there for. You know, and that itself creates a dynamic where it's not always just kill on sight, you know, because there's no other threats. The threats are the humans, and that's it. Like in H1Z1, the zombies and wolves and any other wildlife we add are threats, and those are the common denominator for people to decide whether they want to be friends or not. You know, if somebody wants to be, you know, a dick and just kill everyone he sees, well, he now has twice as many enemies because he has zombies and he has players.
Okay. Cole, you were going to say something?
No.
I thought you were raising your hand. I'm sorry.
No. That's really interesting though. Like it'll be kind of fun to see if there's some kind of system that would let a player identify if a player is PKing other people. Because I just thought, like, so far in everything I've heard so far about the game, it'd be nigh impossible to tell if someone was being aggressive towards players. In fact, there's not really that system in any of the other games. So
yeah, we've talked about it. I know Smed has personally said it. We may end up having to do some type of bandit thing if it gets out of hand. If it's, you know, but
what if that's your play style though?
That's yet to be decided. Exactly. You know, it's something that needs to be decided once we have players in the game.
My play style. Shoot everything. I trust no one.
We had some community members flip out and go crazy and bandit for weeks over on our servers. It was great. It was good fun.
Let God sort out the rest.
Exactly.
Like what I've noticed with these games and the people who stream these type of games is they're very good communication-wise, and voice and communication in these games is huge. Like, it's part of survival. Like, you can't just run through this world and never talk to anybody, because that just makes you look scarier if you're not talking back to somebody. So that person who's talking to you gets freaked out, and then they might want to kill you. So communication is a huge factor in this game, more than any other game I've ever really played. In survival games, communication is huge. So that's another big X factor.
Can I ask a personal question? Because Eldo got to ask his... No, not personal, but like, concerned with
boxers.
myself. Yes, good boy. No, on behalf of all of Australians that play these types of games, and to the UK not as such extent, but we have extremely ridiculous censorship laws as opposed to the violence in the video games. Now, Left 4 Dead 2 is a good example because they had all of the blood splatter and all of the best parts of the game, blowing the head off a zombie and having it as a bloody mess on the ground. All of that got taken out of ours because our censorship board deemed it too graphic or anything like that. I think that the terminology was because they were an infected human, our ridiculous government deemed them inhumane to be killing them in such graphic ways, like smashing their heads in with frying pans or cutting them up with chainsaws. If that sort of thing happens, I'm not saying it's going to, but if that sort of thing happens, have you guys discussed or talked about what you guys might do in order to try and get... Because they might just ban the game altogether unless you guys do something.
Luckily, that is not my job. That is a job for lots of people that get paid a lot more than I do.
Sure,
but there are real problems there with games. Every game that you make, like Germany, you can't have blood, so we have to deal with that. And and if you can't ship a game in Germany, you can't ship a game in the rest of Europe. So there's a ton of stuff that happens there, but I'm glad that I'm not the one that has to deal with it. I just have to worry about making the game.
Sure.
There are other people, powers that be, that make it so it gets to Australia. So I don't know, man. I'm sorry I can't answer that fully, but it's just okay. Trust that it's Sony. It's a big company. They're aware of all of that stuff. They want to be able to get the game out to as many people.
Because the last thing any of us Australian players want to have is to get into the game, but to have it a completely nerfed game as far as, bashing the crap out of a zombie and have it splat all over the wall. And, that's part of the reason why we play the game. I mean, amongst other things, but, it just, yeah. I guess I just wanted to...
Stockus needs his gore.
Yeah.
I want blood!
Aussies, man, I feel bad for you. You got to pay for everything more and...
Yeah. Bad internets.
Bad internet. Just move to San Diego, dude. We'll be happier.
Drop bears. Yeah, I'd love to.
Right. Let's see, real quick. This one was asked 827 times in the chat by Froxer BBQ. Okay. He kept pasting it over and over and over again, so I think we probably should ask it before we wrap up here. How will respawn work? For example, in Rust, there's sleeping bags and beds.
Okay, that's a good question. As of early access, the way you will spawn is similar to DayZ, where you spawn along the southern and the eastern side of the world, and it won't be like a ocean behind you, right? It'll be more of a mountain range, so you'll know which direction you need to go. But that's the way we're handling it for now. That doesn't mean that's the way we're going to handle it forever, but we needed a baseline in order to make it so the game, is playable and comes out and has a good kind of... Basically, in game design, you want players to feel comfortable even though they're in a new environment, and that's a great way to do it, is to make a spawning system at least, feel comfortable for people that are similar or familiar with a game like DayZ, to be like, oh, there's a mountain range, I can only run left or right. Okay, I guess I'll run left, or I'll go into the forest.
Right.
So that's how we're handling spawning for now. As we see the game grow, if it's like, this isn't working, or we need to really spawn people everywhere, then we can change that. It's not something that's hard to do. I mean, changing spawns is very simple.
All right. Let's real quick. I got one last question I do want to ask, and then if everyone has one more question, we can go around the room real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Real quick, this is from another one from Avenged Cyanide. What happened? And this is the reason I'm asking is because it's something I want to know too. What happens if you're shooting someone and they PvP log? Because in DayZ it happened to me so many times. I was just ready to kill somebody to walk around the corner and I turned the corner and they're gone. Yeah,
combat logging.
Yeah.
We're definitely aware of that, and I would tend to bet you that we'll have some type of timer that makes it so you can't do that. We had the similar situation in PlanSide 2 with bailers. People would bail out of their jet at the last second before they died and log in midair before they hit the ground, just to avoid death. And it's like, come on, are you serious? So, we're very aware of all of the grief tactics, and we're gonna try to make it as fair as possible, but still let it be a hardcore game.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for Adam? Yes, go ahead, Cope.
All right, just a quick one. the spawning on the south and east, I can kind of see the direction of wanting to make the player kind of feel at home, and I'm assuming you're actually drawing a tangent between like the DayZ style in that case for players who went there. Is it going to be the kind of thing where that's going to be where the least amount of items are, and then as you move to the opposite end of the map, you start kind of working towards more zombie infested, more territory? Or is it going to be like a progression into the middle, or is everything going to be like all over the place and spread out?
Now, I wouldn't want to give everything away for everyone, but I will say that you are a very smart man.
Oh.
Cool. Done.
Oh, it's amazing.
But, that's just a baseline, right? We have to figure out how to launch the game with something, and it's really... It's smart for us to do it in a way that feels comfortable for people, rather than to make people all mixed up and weird and they don't know what's going on, and and we can always adjust it later if it's not working out.
Cool, great.
Skyla, anything?
I know she has a question. She's been sitting there thinking about one forever.
Well, okay, so I am not particularly gun savvy in any game that I play, but when I log into them, I feel like it's a pretty big learning curve to have to figure out all these gun parts and gun crap. Do I have to be a gun expert to know how to customize my weapon?
I don't think you do, to be honest. I think there's a lot of melee weapons that you can use. I mean, bow and arrow is pretty straightforward. When you have a pistol, or you finally get a real military weapon, if you play the game long enough, I'm sure that'll happen. Then I don't think it's going to be that hard to learn. But you can kind of play this game without ever having to use a weapon, to be honest. If you're good enough at crafting and you're good enough at gathering resources that other players really want, and you create some type of player economy, then you can just play the game that way and use it to trade for goods, and build your house, or, definitely make an ally that is good at using weapons. So the crafting in our game is really deep. So you can play the game for a long time without ever even having to get a weapon, just through the crafting.
Right, Stockus?
No, I think pretty much.
That's what you want.
I will just ask if we can get any more info on the. I know they were posting on the Reddit, not the Reddits, the Twitter about they're working on the body state, the body damage states. How you basically would be able to take out a player's leg, which would slow them down, or something like that. Do you know exactly how involved you guys are looking to get with that? If you shot them in the leg, would it shatter their leg, and then they'd have to fabricate a splint to then be able to move around the world properly? Or
so that's a big one, honestly. I think the way that we want to go, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I'm just going to say it. Okay. We were talking about dismemberment, honestly, yesterday. We were talking about being able to dismember a zombie, right, and be like, I now have a zombie arm. What do I do with this?
Or a bunny.
Whoa. Right? So that's a big part of it. Now, dismembering PC players, who knows? We were talking about it. We're like, how funny would it be to just stand there and all of a sudden some dude's head gets chopped off? I mean,
and
it
then
sounds
you could
sick,
carry it around as a trophy.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds sick, but I mean, we are making a hardcore zombie survival game. It's you gotta kind of embrace what you're making at some point. But
it would be much easier to know a bandit hideout if there was a row of pikes with heads on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. See,
I'll avoid that by.
So I guess I'd have to answer that with stay tuned, Stockus,
cool.
Since it's something that isn't really confirmed or denied.
No, sounds good so far. Anyway,
last but not least, Mr. Elo.
So you said that you've been with the development team almost a month now, 3 weeks, I think is what you said. What was if you can talk about this, what was the first thing that you saw that you went, oh, wow. You were just kind of floored by it.
Oh, this is a game?
This is because I can pick certain parts in a game when I played it and then something happened and I go, all right, this is it. All right, yes. It just that moment of boom, yeah.
Yeah, the aha moment. I would say it was when which you guys haven't seen yet, but when I saw it, it wasn't this, but I already visualized it, that it was already happening. It was when I crafted an axe, cut down a tree, got the wood, found metal, created a furnace, cooked stuff in the furnace, used the furnace. Basically what I'm getting at is the crafting. As soon as I started chopping trees down and getting wood and using that to craft all these other things with it, is when I was like, okay, this is a game. I get what this game is now. This is a serious thing. It's not just going around finding loot and trying to kill other people. This is something much deeper than that. But it's pretty cool once you finally feel that moment. And now we have trees falling over, So you could imagine yourself on the top of a really high hill and you just see the tree line. And then all of a sudden you just see a tree way down there just go poof. And you're like, oh, there's somebody over there, and then you start running in that direction.
We talked about this last week, how the stumps will still be there too. So as you're running through the forest, you'll see the stumps and know, oh my god, there's a player around here.
Yep.
Just a
or an advanced or really advanced zombie.
Yeah. Well, just a quick yes or no: are zombies going to be attracted by falling trees?
It should make noise, right? I think it should make noise. That's definitely something that's going to. Like I said, everything that you do in the world has some type of heat that you're making.
I was just about to say, heat.
It depends on how much you're making, how close the zombies are around you. What I want, this isn't how it works in the game right now, but what I want is to be able to have somebody chopping down a tree and he's on the last chop, right? Mm-hmm. And you're making a trade with another player. You're talking things out, and you're like, "So yeah, blah 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 blah." But they don't know that your friend's there. And then
okay,
so cool, see you later. And then at the last second, your friend has the tree chopped down, and it lands on the dude.
You take his stuff.
And you
take a couple steps back. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Let's take a selfie. 2 steps back. No, 1 more back. Okay, right there. Yeah.
So if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to feel it, does it still produce heat?
Technically, yes.
Generous just asked the same time you did, Elohim. Exactly the same time you just said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or Jesusaurus. Yeah. That's awesome.
Got it.
All right. Well, Adam, man, we just pounded you with questions. I know we said we really weren't going to do that tonight. And
no, it's okay. It usually evolves into that. I understand.
Yeah, everyone's just so excited, and we really wanted to get to some of the nitty-gritty stuff that we hadn't heard yet, or the audience hadn't heard.
I hope I wasn't too vague.
Oh my God,
I know sometimes these things can be pretty monotonous.
Great answers, man.
Yeah. So we're extremely vapid on this show. Usually, we're just complete speculation, and having somebody here that can go, no, guys, that's not the way it's going to be. Is actually pretty neat. So pretty cool.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, really.
Zombie rabbits on a stick seems like a totally plausible game design.
Hey,
if you guys, for anyone in the chat that has questions and stuff, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, ask me at rclegger. I answer questions throughout the day. I get the craziest questions, so there's no bad question.
And I noticed that SOE Legion, who's your new community manager, or one of your new community managers, he's in the chat tonight too. So I guess what I could probably do is I'll try to get hooked up with him. He did write me on Twitter a couple weeks ago when he first got hired. Maybe I could send him all of these questions and just give it to him and see he could look at some of these questions. There's a couple good ones in here. We just didn't have time tonight to go over all of them. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm not the only one who answers questions. Obviously, we have a whole dev team. Legion is going to let you guys know all of the people's Twitter's handles that are on the dev team. And so you can ask. It's much better to ask somebody a specific question based on what they do than to just ask me or Smed all the questions. Right. Because if somebody asks me a level design question, I laser target that and I'll answer that before any other question. Right? So if you're asking a 3D modeling question, I'm just going to be like,
sorry.
I don't know.
Pass it over to Mr. Broom.
Yeah.
So we have a last question here. Ian wants to know, how many galaxies have you crashed in H1Z1? Because how many times have you clegged?
Oh man, I've clegged. Okay, here's a funny story. So The first day that I was on the H1Z1 team, I played the game, and we had a play test, and we were supposed to give our feedback to the team. And I was so used to, for 3 years, giving feedback to PlantSide 2 that I gave my H1Z1 feedback to the PlantSide 2 team feedback list. So everyone on PlantSide 2 was like, wrong list, dude. Way to clegg it up. And I was just oh my gosh.
Following you around everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, let's go around the room real quick and just tell everybody where people can find you and everything. Stackus, go, sir.
Yep. Sergeant Stackers. You can follow me on Twitter at Twitch, Sergeant Stackers. Having this awesome conversation, I'll probably be playing something zombie-related sometime this afternoon.
Play Outlast.
I want to kill shit.
I just played Outlast all day today, and it was crazy. You watched,
So,
yeah.
Yep. You can also catch me on the Bearded Warriors as well, so you can catch me there and find us all there.
Skylatron.
I am Skylatron in all of the places, Twitch, Twitter, all the things, and I mostly play MMOs, but there may be some other surprises in there.
Okay. Mr. Co-Carnage.
I'm CoCarnage, twitch.tv/CoCarnage. You can also find me on Twitter at CoCarnage, which I've been using that a lot more lately. I'm a variety streamer that has a focus on new games and new MMOs. Right now, I am locked in Arcade.
Yeah.
And looking very much forward to H1Z1.
Yes. Mr. Elohim.
I guys, if you want to check me out, I'm gonna be streaming in like 2 hours on my channel, which is twitch.tv/Elohim. I've got all my social media there. If you care about it, then you can find everything there. So, boom.
There we go. All right, everybody, and Geekdomo everywhere. So thank you all so much for coming tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure you, all the people that are in the cast, you hit our buttons and follow us and everything like that. We really appreciate the love, and we will be back again next week. I don't know where we'll be. Did we decide where we're going yet? It's going to be on somebody's channel. Well, I will announce it, and just stay tuned for that. And I have to put this whole thing back together because it crashed in the middle, so I've got to re-encode the whole thing. So it'll be up probably tomorrow. It'll be before I can get this up on YouTube.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. And
by all means, I was just about ready to say, Adam, I really appreciate everything you did tonight and came on the show and answered a million questions. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Love doing this type of stuff, so it's no big deal for me.
All right. Well, we hope to have you back again sometime soon, and we'll see you all very soon. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
See you later.